A jury in Washington, D.C. convicted a Utah activist on 7 counts related to the January 6th Capitol riots. 29-year-old John Sullivan, the man on your screen, claimed that he went to the U.S. Capitol as a journalist to film efforts to stop the certification of the presidential election. However, he was heard encouraging the rioters, bragging about what they had done, and telling the mob to let him into one area, in part because he had a knife. Sullivan's sentencing is expected sometime in 2024. He was the first Utahn to take his riot case to trial. 10 others have pleaded guilty.
Sometimes we have way too much fun on this show. It's Free for All Friday, November 17th, 2023. BLM Antifa revolutionary who incited the January 6th riot has been charged. Oh my God, I thought Antifa was just an idea. Joe Biden and the FBI lied again. James Comer said that Hunter Biden will testify before the House Oversight by September 4th, and Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders joins the show right off the top of the show, baby. It's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to having Sarah Sanders back on the program, baby. I miss Sarah Sanders behind the lectern at the White House. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. How do we keep amped for this program? Well, I got to tell you, man, I got 3 kids under the age of 3. It is hard to get sleep in my household. I must have enormous amounts of caffeine pulsating through my veins at all times, and I have it in my cup this morning, iced and black, baby, is my Blackout coffee. Blackout coffee made here in the fine state of Florida, made here by veterans, made here by people who love this country, shipped out to you so that you can have the energy to fight the communists. That's what Blackout coffee does. If you drink some of the other brands of coffee, then you may actually become a communist. You need to do the reverse programming and give yourself some Blackout coffee. Blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Use the coupon code for 20% off your first order. Stop giving your money to woke companies that hate you and turn you into communists. Blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Or click the link in the description. Oh, hey, wait a second. I thought that Antifa was just an idea. You remember this from the presidential debates? Watch.
Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left.
FBI director.
This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacist. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia. That's what his FBI. FBI director said.
Well, then you know what?
No, we're done, sir. We're moving on to the next. We're moving.
When a bat hits you over the head, that's not an idea.
Everybody in your administration tells you the truth has a bad idea.
Can I tell you what?
You have no ideas.
Antifa is a dangerous,
all right,
radical
gentlemen,
group.
we're now moving.
I'm going to get so tired. I'm going to get so poor of putting money into the Trump was right jar. When I donate to the Trump was right jar, you end up running out of money. You end up hurting your wrist. You end up getting tennis elbow, putting so many quarters into that jar. Donald Trump was, of course, right. And now Antifa members are being prosecuted for inciting the mob on January 6th, along with federal agents that, of course, we know, and uniformed law enforcement and law enforcement in disguise. Check this out, our first story for the day. Antifa revolutionary who incited January 6th caught a case in D.C., has been charged with 7 felonies. This guy's name is Jaden Earl Sullivan. And according to the documents from the court, Jaden Earl Sullivan, who is a BLM Antifa revolutionary, proven, of course, by this clip I'm about to show you from a BLM rally in 2020, this guy dressed up as a Trump supporter, he LARPed as a Trump supporter, and then he went to the Capitol and he incited the riots. Now, important flashback here. The FBI said there's no evidence that Antifa was involved in the Capitol riot. What's so strange, isn't that? Because here's the evidence. The guy was just charged, and the guy's an Antifa member. It does beg the question, of course, as a longtime resident of Washington, D.C., no longer, but a longtime resident of Washington, D.C., hey, where did Antifa go exactly? Just disappear? the day of January 6th? Like, where exactly did Antifa go? And if this guy got charged, how many more of them were there on that morning? Exactly. I've done my life doing conservative speaking circuits and talking to conservatives and going around the country and hanging out with conservatives. We're not violent people. But I have also covered a lot of protests, and the left-wingers are violent, as we covered yesterday. They have really no reason to live. They have no God, no family, no children. Even their pets hate them, right? Because they own cats. And they're allergic to these long-haired cats, and they have these miserable little lives, and that's why their eyes are so puffy, and that's why they're always screaming. Anyway, like, they're the violent ones because they're just miserable people. So it's always confused me as to how the decades of me doing this career, right? Being a journalist, going on the ground, like filming things, interviewing, talking to people. I've gone to 1 million Trump rallies. How suddenly that could be flipped on its head. Like, how could that possibly happen? I've never seen a Republican be violent, ever. And now we know, ladies and gentlemen, now we know that the FBI lied to you, that Antifa dressed as Trump supporters and integrated, LARPed, and then caused riots on the day of January 6th. There you go. Because these are the actions of Antifa. Every single second of every single day, somebody gets overcharged for a blueberry muffin in Washington, D.C. There's an Antifa protest outside that shop. They're burning the shop down. They're ripping down the statues. Every second of every day, Antifa was there. The day Donald Trump was inaugurated, Antifa, hundreds of Antifa members burned and raged through the city, fought cops, torched a Starbucks, lit cars on fire. They want to try and deep six this footage. They can't. I was there. I remember it. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. And so, what are you left to? Like, the one day Antifa doesn't show up is January 6th, the single day. Very strange that. It really, really is. By the way, here's your MAGA supporter that stormed the Capitol on January 6th. Here's the MAGA supporter. This is what Jaden was saying just a few months before January 6th.
We got fucking Rick Trump out of that office right over there and pull him out that shit. Nah, we ain't about to wait until the next election. We about to go get that fucker. I ain't about that shit.
Oh, okay. We got to rip Trump out of the White House. We had to bleep that, of course. Hard to listen to, but a lot of F-bombs. Got to rip Trump out of the White House. There's your J6er right there. That's what the media has said is your classic Trump voter. That guy. How integral was this guy inside of like the entire the January 6th riot, where some hooligans behaved badly and deserved to go to prison, like Jaden? Some Antifa members and BLM members behaved badly, like Jaden, and deserved to go to prison. How integral was he? Well, check out some of this footage. Watch.
Let's go! Get up here! They're climbing up the wall! They're climbing up the wall!
Okay, cool. Got it. All right. Well, that looks a little bit like incitement. Did he ever say, like, Ray Epps, we're going to storm the Capitol? In fact, there's actually footage of him with Ray Epps. Check this out. Here's footage of Jaden with Ray Epps together the day before January 6th. Watch.
Constitution is what it's about. Not Antifa.
They actually
not
pulled
Black
him through.
Lives
They didn't just
Matter.
let him through.
This
They
is
helped
about
him
the
through.
Constitution. It's more
What?
important
Yeah.
in my life, your
Undercover
life,
agent
their
type. Yeah.
Got it. Oh, okay. That's really interesting. We also know of that exact same moment that Ray Epps, according to brand new footage that has been released by Laura Logan, was leaning into other people recording saying, "We are here to storm the Capitol," echoing the exact phraseology that was used by all of the press about this moment. Watch.
I'll give you your hug now. We did it. You were right. We did it.
Dude, I was trying to tell you. I couldn't say much.
You were right.
You just have to watch my channel. Is this not going to be the best film you've ever made?
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Jaden's footage from listening to Ray Epps saying this. Watch.
Maybe it's because you're my neighbor. Where you at?
Then he leaned in and whispered something he apparently did not want to say out loud.
We're not here to fight, man. We're here to storm. I'm not kidding.
We're here to storm the Capitol. Hell yeah. All right, have a good night. Be safe. Be safe, brother.
That one moment changed what we knew about Ray Epps that night, when he whispered storm the Capitol before it had happened, and echoed the official narrative before it was broadcast across the nation.
Of supporters of President Trump stormed the U.S. Capitol building.
Thousands storming the Capitol.
This mob that stormed the Capitol.
Stormed the Capitol.
Stormed the Capitol.
Stormed the Capitol.
Stormed the U.S. Capitol building.
Stormed the United States Capitol.
He ran.
Oh, okay. Got it. So you have a guy there on tape saying that. You have an Antifa member right next to him who went and did it. And then, of course, you have all of the footage of the undercover body cameras of undercover federal agents and law enforcement literally inciting people on January 6th. I know I sound like a broken record on the show, but it's worth playing because we will break the lies with the truth. The truth shall set you free. Here's undercover body camera footage of an undercover agent saying, you got to go into the Capitol. Go, 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 go. This is incitement. This federal agent should be also charged. Watch.
Drain the swamp. Drain the swamp. Drain the swamp. Go, go. Let's go. Go. Help him up. Help him up. Help him up. Hold on, wait. Push him up. Push him up.
And an important thing to note here, is that CNN had on this Antifa member. We're going to play just a second of this clip, but CNN had on this Antifa BLM activist who stormed the Capitol on January 6th after Ray Epps said so, and treating him like a hero. Wasn't that strange? Isn't that crazy? It's almost like they knew they were lying to you the whole time. Check out this unearthed clip from way back in the day.
And left-wing activist John Sullivan. John, you filmed this moment on your phone. Can you describe what happened?
Yeah, so basically all the protesters kind of stormed to get into the chamber. We tried to get into the main entrance right when you walk down the hallway. But that being said, nobody was able to get in because there's two guards refusing to move.
So what was he talking about there? He was talking about the moment that Ashley Babbitt was murdered, in fact, inside of the Capitol, which that footage is really disturbing. You can find it on social media. We won't play it for you here. But it's all John Sullivan's footage. So this man is an Antifa activist, a BLM activist, who dressed as a Trump supporter and incited the riots on January 6th. Now he's been federally charged with 7 of those crimes, and the FBI has lied to you. And we'll get back to that in a moment, ladies and gentlemen. CNN has lied to you. And there's only one person at the White House in history who's actually effectively called out CNN for their trash reporting. That person, a breath of fresh air, somebody who we sure would like to see at the White House again. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the golden years. Here's Sarah Sanders calling out CNN from the podium at the White House.
There have been folks out there who have said, there's a cause and effect. He watches something on Fox and Friends, and then he tweets about it. Is that what happened this morning, and does that go on?
I'm sure you're disappointed he's not watching CNN.
I think he watched a lot of CNN, if you don't mind.
I don't think that's true. Your numbers would be higher. In reference to the question specifically, no, let's not.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Sanders will be joining the show in a moment. I'm just doing a little bit of a preview here because I just love Sarah Sanders clips. I'm a big Sarah Sanders fan of what she did at the White House, specifically when talking about Hillary Clinton. Oh, man, this energy back. Please, please. Let's go.
is that there is a wall. That's something the president's committed to, but we also want comprehensive immigration reform. Blake?
Will the president be reading Hillary Clinton's book, and what does he think about the excerpts that have gotten out so far?
Whether or not he's going to read Hillary Clinton's book, I am not sure, but I would think that he's pretty well versed on what happened, and I think it's pretty clear to all of America. I think it's sad that after Hillary Clinton ran one of the most negative campaigns in history and lost, and the last chapter of her public life is going to be now defined by propping up book sales with false and reckless attacks, and I think that that's a sad way for her to continue this work. Tolu.
Thank you, Sarah. Hillary Clinton's career will end with propping up book sales with false attacks. Pretty sad day for Hillary Clinton. Don't you miss Sarah Sanders at the press dais? Cringe, Jean-Pierre. We wouldn't have any cringe alerts if Sarah Sanders was back. And if Sarah Sanders was back, maybe we'd have a little bit of a forceful advocate for truth. Like when Sarah Sanders said, "Shut up, I'm not done talking. I'm going to absolutely not allow you to lie in this room." Oh, it's nice when you fight back correctly against the press. Watch.
Sarah, that journalists make honest mistakes, and that doesn't make them fake news. But the question that
But when journalists make honest mistakes, they should own up to them. Sometimes, and a lot of times you don't. But there's a difference. There's a very big... I'm sorry, I'm not finished. There's a very big difference between making honest mistakes and purposefully misleading the American people, something that happens regularly. You can't say, "I'm not done." You cannot say, that it's an honest mistake when you're purposely putting out information that you know to be false, or when you're taking information that hasn't been validated, that hasn't been offered any credibility, and that has been continually denied by a number of people, including people with direct knowledge of an instance. This is something that I'm speaking about the number of reports that have taken place over the last couple of weeks. I'm simply stating that there should be a certain level of responsibility in that process.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Sanders will be joining us momentarily. I wanted to do just a little bit of a trip down the Primrose memory lane here with some of our favorite Sarah Sanders clips. Also, really remarkable to see when the White House press corps used to ask questions. Kind of incredible. You remember when there was an adversarial relationship with the press and the press secretary? Sarah Sanders has, of course, gone on to become the excellent governor of Arkansas, and we are very excited to talk with her about some of the amazing work that she's been doing there to get communism out of Arkansas and California. It will be quite interesting, ladies and gentlemen. One of the people who wasn't allowed inside of the White House press briefing room would be Tucker Carlson, mainly because Tucker Carlson didn't have... Hold on just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. My producer is telling me that we may have Sarah Sanders ready to rock. Ladies and gentlemen, just a moment here. I don't want to jump anywhere unless we got Sarah online. We good to go? Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Here we go. We've done. I could do clips of Sarah Sanders roasting, nuking, napalming, and carpet bombing Jim Acosta all day. We could do the whole rest of the show on that. I got those clips. Maybe we'll just do that someday. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the great governor of Arkansas, Sarah Sanders, joins the program. Sarah.
Hey, Benny, how are you?
Governor, it is wonderful to have you on the program.
It's good to be here. It's been a long time, but I appreciate getting the chance to catch up with you guys today.
Well, it's certainly has been a long time. The last time that you and I were in the same room together, you advised me to get a little baby carrier for my infant so that I'd have two hands free to be able to work with. And that was fantastic advice. Thank you for that.
You know, having 3 kids, I may not know all the answers to all the things, but hands-free baby carrier is key to success, to being able to continue working while watching at least one kid at a time.
Yes, yes. And you have a lot of work that you are doing right now in the great state of Arkansas. We haven't caught up since you have become governor, and you've done just a bang up job. Speaking of having your hands free, you have a lot more residents in the state of Arkansas. You're getting a lot of immigration from California. I saw that recently on your social media. Can you tell me about that? And also, how will you stop communism from moving into your state given these demographic trends?
Absolutely. You know, Arkansas is booming. Our economy is strong. We are creating opportunity left and right here in the state, and people are starting to take notice. We've already had over 30,000 people move into the state just this year alone, a large portion of those people coming from California. But we always remind them, don't forget why you left places like California and Washington in the first place to come to Arkansas. So don't try to change us, but we're glad to welcome these newcomers because they love freedom the same way that we do, and they want to live in a state that recognizes that, and we're happy to have them here. And I tell them we're still open for business. Keep coming as long as you don't try to change Arkansas and make us anything like California, because we certainly don't want that.
You are technically banning some form of communism in your state. You're stopping the Communist Party of China from buying land in your state. Is this correct?
We are. We passed legislation earlier this year that made it a violation of state law to own land if you are majority owned by the Communist Chinese Party. And just within the last few weeks, we kicked out a business called Syngenta Technology. It is a seed technology company. Our agriculture industry is incredibly important here in the state of Arkansas. But agriculture is not just important to feed our citizens, whether you're in Arkansas or around the country, but it's actually a big part of our national security to protect our ability to feed ourselves, but also protect our land interest here in our backyard. So we not only kicked that company out of our state, said they weren't allowed to operate here, but because they were in violation of state law, we also fined them. And just about a week ago, we received a check for $280,000 from that company, paying the fine directly to the state of Arkansas.
Wow. Wow. So you're kicking out communists and making them pay for it.
Absolutely. And we're going to keep our foot on the gas, and we're encouraging other states to take a look at what we're doing here in Arkansas and follow suit. If the federal government is not going to hold a hard line on China, then we need our governors and our states to step up and do what Joe Biden and his administration are frankly unwilling or incapable of doing. So we're taking matters into our own hands. We're going to protect our people. We're going to protect our interests, and we're going to do our part as much as we can to protect national security.
So you are taking the exact opposite step that the state of California took this week, which was to welcome with open arms and waving red Chinese communist flags the dictator of communist China, Xi Jinping, to San Francisco, which inexplicably got cleaned up overnight. I mean, like nothing ever happened, Sarah. It was pretty amazing. We've gone to San Francisco a lot for this show, and it is truly a sunken place and really a very dangerous place. We were robbed a couple times in San Francisco outside of Nancy Pelosi's house. So it's like, it really does, like, first off, what does this say about the state of California? And secondarily, what does it say about the way that they look at the people who live there? Well, because, I mean, if you could clean it up and you could fix it right like that with existing budgets, why don't they do that?
Exactly. I think what we saw this past week is not that they're incapable of doing it. They're just choosing not to. They're willing to clean it up for the Chinese Communist Party, but they're not willing to clean it up for their own citizens. We're taking the opposite approach here in Arkansas. Not only are we kicking them out, but we're cleaning things up for our citizens and making sure that we're providing the best opportunities for people right here in Arkansas. It's hard to imagine anybody seeing what's happening there and their ability to do that, choosing not to, and wanting to stick around.
Do you believe that there is going to be a Biden White House run in 2024? Or do you think, as Joe Biden said there at the dinner with Gavin Newsom, that Gavin Newsom might jump in there and take his spot?
I certainly hope Joe Biden is their candidate, because I think he's one of the weakest nominees we've seen in decades. And I like the matchup that I see between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. I think President Trump is going to wipe the floor with him. So I very much hope that he continues and remains as the leading candidate for the Democrat Party, because he has shown an inability to lead this country. And the contrast between those two candidates could not be more stark. You have one person that is leading from a position of strength in President Trump, somebody who was capable of building a strong economy, securing our borders, helping us have respect on the world stage. The total opposite of what we've seen from Joe Biden: completely open borders, less secure, less prosperous. I like that contrast. I hope it's Joe Biden, because I think it helps secure and guarantee a win for President Trump.
Oh man, it's just like getting the band back together again. And you did get back together with President Trump this last weekend at a rally in Florida, and you endorsed President Trump. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Your conversations with him, just getting the band back together again.
Absolutely. I have continued to have a great relationship with the president. He was one of the very first people to endorse me when I made my bid for governor, and I'm very proud of the 2.5 years that I worked for him in the White House, a year on the campaign. Again, the contrast between the two candidates that I think are leading their party and likely going to be the rematch we see is between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. It is no question who is the more fit, correct person to lead our country, and that's Donald Trump. I was proud to stand with him last week, and I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do for our country again when he's back in the White House.
There was a little anecdote that dropped yesterday that Donald Trump made everyone sit and watch a music video, Guns N' Roses. This is based on your retelling of a story. Is this accurate?
Yeah, the president loves music. I think it's one of the things about him that a lot of people may not appreciate, but he loves music. He's got great taste in music, and big fan of a Guns N' Roses song. He plays it at rallies every once in a while. And as he goes through and makes those selections, sometimes you get to be lucky enough to be part of that process. And as I got to do a few times, and love getting to see his passion for different music, all genres on the table. And I think it's one of the things that makes his events so fun is the different music variety that you can expect to come out at any one of those rallies.
But he made you sit and watch. He made campaign staff sit and watch the music video. It's like a very long music video.
I don't know if "made" is the right word, but we did all watch it together, and it was all in good fun. And anytime you can take a break from the monotony and the intensity of working in the White House or working on a campaign and get a chance to check out and watch a music video, I think that kind of break could probably be used in a lot more maybe offices and places around the country to lighten people up a little bit.
You just mentioned the monotony and the intensity of the White House. You're one of the most popular governors in the country. You're just rocking. You've become a governor superstar. Do you ever miss the White House press podium? Do you miss that job?
I miss the people. I certainly miss some of the individuals I got to work with and some of the opportunities we got to have. Anybody who ever gets a chance to work in the White House, strongly encourage you to take on that opportunity. Getting to serve the country in that capacity is an absolute honor. I love the 2.5 years that I got to do it, but I think being governor of Arkansas is one of the best jobs I could possibly imagine. I love what I'm doing right now. I love the fact that we are able to actually make decisions and implement great conservative legislation, executive orders, and other things that are having a real world impact on people in our state. And we're seeing in Arkansas get better every single day. And that's something I'm really proud of and something I love that I get to do.
You ever hear from Jim Acosta anymore?
It's weird. I keep thinking he'll call, but maybe he lost my number. I don't know.
You haven't baked any bourbon pies?
I will be, turning the oven on over the weekend, getting ready for Thanksgiving. I'll be making probably several bourbon chocolate pecan pies for my family over the course of the next week. I will actually be making them in case there's any questions out there. My boys do. I will say my kids crush the pecan, so that's a key part of the success factor. So I do have a little help. I have 3 great sous chefs in the kitchen that help out.
People forget the greatest conspiracy theory of all time, which is Sarah Sanders baked a pie for the press corps, and they said, wait a second, she didn't do it. It's fake. She didn't make the pie. She bought it from Safeway.
Yeah, how insulting to any Southern woman to question our ability to bake a pie.
So what is your message to the country that wants to move south now? You obviously are a native Southerner. You are a governor of a very popular Southern state. And now the entire country is migrating to your part of the world, right? And I have moved to Florida. I am one of them. And so as California comes and bum rushes Arkansas, I mean, do you worry that there's going to be a little bit of a cultural earthquake?
I certainly don't think so. I think people are coming here because they're running away from the policies and the out of control, top down, heavy handed government that they're seeing in California. And I think they're coming here for the purpose of enjoying freedom, enjoying conservative leadership that we're offering. We're focusing on things like education, cutting taxes, public safety. And those are things that a lot of those people are running towards. We're happy they're coming. We want them to continue to do so. Just never forget why you left California.
Yes. What is the number one? I mean, you grew up with your father as governor of Arkansas. What is the number one shock on the job that you've had? Like, is there something that's really taken you aback?
I would say, just how quickly the weight of the office hits you. I mean, having watched my dad take on this role, having worked in the highest levels of government at the White House, when you sit down in the chair day one and you're writing your name on a sheet of paper, that literally changes people's lives. That hits very fast. But I'm grateful for the opportunity. Feel like we have done a great job in these last 11 months, and I look forward to the amazing things I think we're going to be able to do for the people of our state.
I think people really love the energy, Sarah. You probably would have plenty of advice for the next governor of Arkansas, whoever that may be. Any advice for someone who's also taken your role, somebody who we lovingly refer to as Cringe Jean Pierre on this program? Any words of wisdom for her?
It's hard to give a lot of advice there. The difference is I had a really good story to tell. They don't have a lot of positive things to talk about coming out of that administration. Certainly, I had my own set of challenges, no doubt about that, but things were going really well for our country under President Trump. So I had great things to talk about. She doesn't quite have that going for her. In addition to a number of other challenges, I think my best advice would maybe be to look and see what other opportunities may exist out there.
Yeah, maybe get a boss who can speak English. Yeah, the other thing, I mean, I know we have to let you go. Your team's saying, but like, what happened to the press? What happened? They used to ask you questions. It used to be 50 against 1, Sarah. What happened?
I don't wish that upon anybody, the type of, intensity and hostility and criticism from the press corps that I got, but I do wish they would actually ask some real tough and substantive questions. You have a couple people in the room that certainly try, but they are usually drowned out. But I wish that they would hold this administration's feet to the fire and actually ask them some of the really difficult questions on how this administration is failing the American people. I'm not holding my breath expecting that to happen. I think it is much more likely that we'll see somebody new behind the podium with a new administration, far more likely than it is for the press to start asking hard questions. So I'm going to count on that instead of the other.
You say the press hold the administration's feet to the fire, but Joe Biden can't hold his feet down on like a flat surface walking across a stage or up a flight of stairs on Air Force One. So, I mean, this seems like quite a jump.
I'm going to leave that one alone, Benny. I'm going to let you take that.
The great governor, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, thank you so much for being on the program. Godspeed. You are saving Arkansas and protecting that great American state.
Thanks so much for having me, and best to your family, which is growing, it seems like, by the minute. So enjoy that hands-free baby carrier, and thanks again for having me on today.
3 kids, that's the way to go. Although Tucker Carlson texted me, you got to do 4. Got to do 4. Got to go for 4 right now.
I don't know. We're doing good to manage our 3. So best of luck if you add a 4th to the roster over there.
Thank you, Governor.
Thanks, Benny.
How fun, ladies and gentlemen. What a amazing movement that we have. What great energy that we have. Sarah Huckabee Sanders doing just the Lord's work, quite frankly, in the state of Arkansas, and also, being a fearless and wonderful advocate for our side, for Donald Trump, for our movement, and showing that, man, this is a real movement, right? Like this is what we're building here is having real world consequences, and we are actually winning. And it's good to have that pep in your step. It's good to be light of heart and light of spirit and to be happy warriors. You can't defeat a happy army. You can't defeat them, ladies and gentlemen. It's very interesting. And I wanted to get to this in our first block, but it is something that has really caused me quite a bit of shock. Was this moment that happened in Congress, and it's worth stating because it didn't get the press that it deserves. But I'm seeing a bunch of people talk about this, saying this is going to be the bombshell that really rips open the entire narrative of the government lies about January 6th. Clay Higgins, one of our favorite members of Congress, friend of the show, from the state of Louisiana. So Clay Higgins had Christopher Wray in front of the dais in Congress this week and held up photos of ghost buses saying these are buses that the FBI used in order to carry agents in from a metro stop in Virginia. And these agent provocateurs were spread throughout the crowd on January 6th. Now, of course, we started the show off with this bombshell, breaking news, that Antifa members are now being arrested by the federal government, arrested and charged, 7 felonies for John Sullivan on this. And the FBI said there was no Antifa there. Well, okay, that's a little strange. Have you checked the court filings for the D.C. District Court? So what is this about ghost buses? Check out this exchange from inside of Congress this week.
Are you familiar with you know what a ghost vehicle is? Director of the FBI certainly should. You know what a ghost bus is?
A ghost bus?
Ghost bus.
I'm not sure I've used that term before.
Okay. Well, it's pretty common in law enforcement. It's a vehicle that's used for secret purposes. It's painted over. These 2 buses in the middle here, they were the first to arrive at Union Station on January 6th, 0500. I have all this evidence. I'm showing you a tip of this iceberg.
Mr. Chairman.
These 2 buses are painted completely white.
Point of order.
Point of order. Sure.
Just run over the time.
I understand, but you'll recall that Ms. Jackson Lee's been allowed to go 2 minutes before. Now recognize Mr.
May I
Gray.
close this statement, Mr.
No,
Chairman?
I think your time is expired.
This is a very significant hearing, Mr. Chairman, and these buses are nefarious in nature and were filled with FBI informants dressed as Trump supporters and deployed onto our Capitol on January 6th. Your day is coming, Mr. Ray.
Point, Mr. Higgins. I now
Holy smokes, your day is coming, Mr. Ray, says Clay Higgins. What does he know? What does he know? And he echoed a clip that we've played for you time and time again on this program. FBI agents or confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters inside of the United States Capitol that day. Now, this is Clay Higgins, Congressman Clay Higgins, who has a big-time law enforcement and investigative background. Clay Higgins saying, no. On January 6th, there were FBI confidential human informants dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol. Well, holy smokes. If we found that out, that would just blow. Is that why? Is that why we can't have all the J6 tapes? Is that why they won't release them? Because you'll see guys wandering around inside of the Capitol building dressed as Trump supporters before the doors were open. Really curious, really interesting. Tony Segura is someone that I don't know, but he is a big data pioneer and a contractor with the CIA and the NSA. And here's what he had to say about these ghost buses. We thought this was very, very interesting. And listen, I'm no expert on this, but I think it's really quite interesting. We own the digital ID of every mobile device computer in the US and have indexed and archived IP addresses all around the world, extensive experience in big data so on and so forth, and he's worked with all the big 3-letter agencies. There are a number of videos documenting these ghost buses, as well as a number of mostly nondescript DOJ vans that drop off ninja-wearing individuals. What does that mean? Guys in outfits that appear in other videos to have breached the Capitol, cutting fencing, removing barricades, opening doors, and other nefarious behavior. We've also tracked the infamous J6 pipe bomber from these vans. Later, we eventually tracked them to a Virginia metro station where a perfect capture of the vehicle license plate was made. The FBI has all this information. Shortly after they were alerted, however, AT&T mysteriously and accidentally corrupted all of that information. Additionally, their mobile devices were used hundreds of times before and after J6 key card requiring FBI DOJ parking garages and buildings. Well, Tony, that seems like a pretty monster story you got on your hands there. Maybe give that to a journalist. Feel free, Tony, to give it to us. We'll be happy to investigate along with the rest of the Benny Brigade. So that's the question, ladies and gentlemen. What is being covered up? That is also a question that James Comer is, of course, asking. James Comer is asking, how is the federal government covering up for the Biden crime family? Apparently, according to James Comer, Hunter Biden is going to testify maybe next week, maybe the week after, but by December 4th. Check this out. Clip R.
The big question. So you've subpoenaed James Biden, Hunter Biden. Good job, Congressman. We talked a lot about that, I think, since the summer. James Biden's wife, Sarah, Hunter Biden's wife, Haley Biden, that's Beau Biden's widow, and her sister, both of whom Hunter had relationships with. When is the earliest that you get Hunter Biden on Capitol Hill under oath?
Well, I hope we said by December the 4th, and we expect to have him here on Capitol Hill December the 4th or earlier. Now, we haven't heard from his attorney, but obviously we know they received the subpoena because what do? Just days later, they subpoena Donald Trump. You know, I mean, they're always going to try to blame it on Trump somehow, the money they've taken from China and Romania.
Ah, yes. The dual form of justice is really strange. Just scream and cry about it all the time. Articles like this one, Joe Biden will escape charges for mishandling classified documents. Why? Why? Well, because apparently Joe Biden cooperated with the angry blue-haired librarian communists who wanted those documents back. According to CNN, and this hasn't been formally announced, but expect it perhaps later today, Joe Biden won't be facing any charge. That's okay. I'm not going to scream and rant and rave about this. I'm not going to increase my blood pressure over this. Nobody was expecting Joe Biden to ever be charged. They got a uniparty Republican to go look into Joe Biden, Robert Hur. And what did Joe Biden do? Well, we know for a fact what Joe Biden did. He hoovered and hoarded thousands of classified documents into his private residence, into his little Penn Biden Center for Chinese grift, and then allowed the sticky-fingered Chinese to potentially go through all those documents. Well, I mean, they did fund the whole center, right? So what were they getting out of this? Do you understand how this works? That's how the game works. Did anybody ask any questions about that? Is that espionage? Is that treason? Yes, of course it is. Does Joe Biden have a right to those documents? No, he doesn't, because Joe Biden does not have plenary power of declassification, unlike Donald Trump. As many constitutional scholars have argued on this program, and the documents charge was over a year ago, right? But Donald Trump was president. Joe Biden wasn't president when he took all these documents. Therefore, Joe Biden, just like any other American citizen, would be subject to all of the laws, and there are thousands of them, about mishandling of classified information. Donald Trump was the chief executive. Those laws don't apply to him. Donald Trump, when he says it's unclassified, it's unclassified. This is how it works. The executive is embodied in a man, a single man. It is the only form of the only branch of our government that is. But you are the chief executive. That's how it works. But they're going to apparently let Joe Biden escape. Attorney General Merrick Garland, of course, appointed Robert Hur in January to investigate Biden after classified documents from his time as vice president, Barack Obama's administration, were found in his possession, and at the Penn Biden Center in Washington, D.C., and at his home in Wilmington, Delaware, and in Pennsylvania. Hur was among those at the Justice Department who had knowledge about the Russia hoax perpetrated against Donald Trump and did nothing. Hur will reportedly issue an report on his investigation and will be made public by the end of the year. The investigation encompassed hundreds of Biden aides, colleagues, family members, including Hunter Biden. Hur interviewed Joe Biden for 2 days. I wonder how that went. How did it go, in fact? Well, we have recent footage of Joe Biden effectively announcing that Gavin Newsom is the real person running for president. Sarah Sanders was on the program saying, oh, please let Joe run again. But it's Gavin Newsom, who Joe Biden said in communist California, communist China, communist California. I just missed the way he said China. Communist California, Joe Biden's on stage with Gavin Newsom saying, hey, that guy, he's going to be president. Watch.
I want to talk about Governor Newsom. I want to thank him. He's been one hell of a governor, man. Matter of fact, he could be anything you want. He could have the job I'm looking for.
You can have the job I'm looking for. What job would that be, Joe? What job are you looking for? Do you know who you are? Please breathe on this mirror to see if it fogs up. Are you alive? Watch Joe at this meeting to make sure that we are projecting American strength. Joe being incapable of finding his spot on the stage.
The President of the United States.
Sorry to keep you waiting. It's my fault.
Shut up, dude. Okay. Joe Biden is going to get his ass kicked, according to recent polling. Polling has Joe Biden getting defeated by all rivals. All rivals. So they're polling Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump, and everyone is defeating Joe Biden. Also, we have a really funny clip coming for you of Joe Biden doing a fake sip. Joe Biden, you're supposed to do cheers, right? And then have a sip of champagne or whatever. Okay? Just have it filled with grape juice if you don't want to drink, Joe. Joe Biden doing the worst fake stage sip you've ever seen. That video inbound. Oh, man. Oh, this is a good one. Shall we, ladies and gentlemen? Here, we'll load it up and play it for you. This is, the guy's not even acting anymore. This is, again, statesmanship and statecraft, projecting power and strength is part of the job. Watch Joe Biden try and have a sip of a glass of wine.
Here, here. Welcome. Bon appetit.
I love you, Benny Brigade. I love you. And you should join the Benny Brigade, by the way. I love you, Benny Brigade. Thank you so much for being a member of the Benny Brigade. Cheers to you. Got it? How would you feel? You should join the Benny Brigade, by the way, if you want to keep our show independent, if you want to keep our guests rolling and the work that we are doing here, striving and free and capable of doing stories like January 6th cover-up, please consider joining the Benny Brigade. Please join the Benny Brigade today. It's the fastest growing membership and exclusive independent journalist support network on the internet. Go to BennyJohnson.com/brigade. When you sign up for your annual subscription, which costs less than a $5 footlong, every single month you will get one of these sent directly to your hot little hands. These are the keychains, the official keychain of the Benny Brigade. It looks awesome on your keys. And it has the Salty Army tank right on the back. So you can be shooting salt just right alongside with us as we fight for a better America. A better America where Joe Biden trails his three main GOP rivals. The recent polling is very bad for Joe Biden. Joe Biden is trailing Nikki Haley by 10 points. He's trailing Trump and Ron DeSantis by 3 points here, according to Marquette Law School recent polling. So, no Republican candidate does Joe Biden beat, according to the new poll? New Yahoo News poll found that 54% of Democrats and independent who leaned Democrat answered yes if they would like to see another challenger enter the race. And now we know that challengers have entered the race. Joe Manchin is saying that he's going to run for president. We shall see. Somebody who won't be running any longer will be David DePape, the man who hit Paul Pelosi with the hammer. The conclusion of this strange little story is at hand. David DePape, Mr. Hammer Time, Mr. Inflatable Unicorn costume. This man is now found guilty of attempted kidnapping. Okay, so David DePape, a jury found him guilty of trying to kidnap Nancy Pelosi with a hammer and interrogate her while wearing an inflatable unicorn costume. We're just reporting the facts here. This is what the man wanted to do. Jurors convicted DePape of assault and attack when he fractured Paul Pelosi's skull. He was also found guilty of attempting to kidnap Nancy Pelosi, then Speaker of the House of Representatives. Federal jury has convicted David DePape of armed kidnapping. Federal officer and employee. But hey, listen, we still have questions. Still really weird. David DePape faces a maximum sentence of life in prison. Well, it looks like they are going to finally lock up an actual Democrat, because David DePape is himself a leftist and a Democrat and a socialist, a nudist, a BLM supporter, gay rights supporter, drug abuser who lives in a van. So amazing. Like, it looks like an actual Democrat is going to jail, David DePape. So good. Now we can talk about that. And now Donald Trump can talk about it, because the gag order was lifted on Donald Trump. Win. Appeals court judge temporarily lifts gag order on Donald Trump in New York. Civil fraud case. Donald Trump then went on a blistering tirade against, of course, the judge in that case. The judge is this old, dirty, yellow-toothed hippie who is such a dirty scumbag and likes being an 80s sitcom character. Letting cameras into his courtroom. This guy is also a man who sends nudes to like group chats and stuff. Those have leaked. They're not great. They're really, yeah. I mean, it's like if Where's Waldo leaked his nudes. It's just really gross, weird. And this man should not be a judge. He's bragged before. We've played the clips on the show of him being able to just take jury rulings and say, nah, I don't believe you, or I don't want to believe you, or I'm politically inclined to do the opposite and just overrule the jury. This guy's scum. This guy's an absolute tyrant. And this does signal something really wonderful that's about to happen, which is this judge will most likely, according to all signals from the court, he's going to try and strip Donald Trump's business away, and then they're going to appeal it, and the appeals court's going to say, this is insane. No, here's your business back, right? But what's the point? What do we learn from this? Don't found businesses in blue states. Get out of blue states. I mean, I'm stuck on this, right? I had to get out of blue states. I don't want to do business in a blue state. I don't want these people coming after me. These people are Marxists. They're communists. They're year zero Maoists. And you should stay away if you can, right? If you can. It's still good, though, it's still good to have people fighting the good fight, no matter where you are. So no matter where you are, I love you. We love you here at The Benny Show. And to show that love, we will always give you real hope, real pep in your step, real light, salt and light to walk with into your beautiful weekend in this, the greatest country on earth. The verse of the day. Verse of the day from John 14:6. Jesus Christ answered, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody comes to the Father except through me. Accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, and your life will be light of heart. You will be a happy warrior. It does not guarantee that you live a perfect life. Far from it. In fact, go check out what happened to Christ's disciples. This earth is a sunken place. Darkness does not like the light. Darkness does not like the salt. Our salt from our salty army. Darkness doesn't like it because it exposes them. And that is what we are doing on this program. And that is our guiding principle and our guiding light. We are not promised a perfect life. In fact, we know that there will be hardships in this life. And so let us have communion together. Let us march forward together as a salty army, as Christian warriors, as people who know that we will have justice in the end. Keep a smile on your face. Keep a pep in your step. A stiff upper lip. We will win. It's your boy Benny. Enjoy this beautiful weekend. See ya.